Welcome to Speak for Yourself. I'm Marcellus Wiley. Hello. Emmanuel Acho's out today, but I've got co-host who's waving over there of the herd, Joy Taylor. And Slick Rick the Bucher is with me. So let's go to war and get it started with our top story brought to you by Popeye's new 8-piece nugget. You get some barbecue sauce too, homie. The Cowboys snapped their 2-game skid last night with a win over the Saints. Dallas was missing Mike McCarthy, and the Dak Prescott-led offense was up and down. But the defense stepped up in a big way with 4 interceptions on Taysom Hill, including a pick 6 in the fourth quarter. You ain't gonna catch me. So, Joy, did the Cowboys put all concerns to rest?
No, they didn't. No, they did not. It was a good game. They played well. They won convincingly. But all concerns to rest? No, not quite. Because we know what the defense is capable of. We know what Dak Prescott is capable of. What we'd like to see, what I would have liked to see, is the running game get going. Because the conversation on the offensive side of the ball, we know what Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are capable of when they're there. We saw that last night. The question about the offense is the running game, Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. Should Zeke be playing right now? Jerry Jones clearly wants him to, so we see him out there. He's clearly injured. Tony seems to have a little bit more juice. There's a little bit of a controversy there. I don't actually even think it's 100% on Zeke or Tony why they can't get it going, because the offensive line has been struggling as well. It's the running game that's the question for me. We're going into the end of the season now. You want to be running on all cylinders if you are a championship contender. And the last 2 weeks have been really concerning when it comes to the run game. Now, listen, it is the Saints. Nobody really runs the ball on the Saints, but you had to try to do it, and they weren't capable of doing it. Zeke had 15 touches, 13 rushings, 2 receptions last night, 47 scrimmage yards. Not great. Tony Pollard had that big run for 58 yards. The rest of the running game last night had 19 attempts for 58 yards. So they couldn't get the running game going. That's a concern for me. You don't want to put it all on Dak. You don't want to have him forcing situations, especially when you get into the playoffs. They have to figure the running game situation out. Everything else, as you mentioned, looked great. Dak looked good. Amari, CeeDee, the defense did an amazing job, but the running game is the question for me with the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, man, Joy, didn't know you were absolutist. I didn't know that Joy talked and thought in absolutes. All right, since you're an absolutist, let's talk in absolutes. Of course the Cowboys put all concerns to rest. Because when you hear all concerns, you got to talk and think in terms, as I'm trying to educate my son right now, in a figure of speech. Now, a figure of speech is not an absolute, Joy, but my son, he's 6. Joy, you're not 6, but I know you understand where we're going to go with this. I'm not going to talk in absolutes because all teams have issues. All teams have something that concerns you, correct? So no team is going to ever answer all concerns to rest. But we're talking in a figure of speech. Like, did the Cowboys put things to rest? Absolutely. Joy, there goes that word again. Let's talk about it. You know why? The Cowboys did have a good rushing attack last night. This was their best rushing attack since week 5, 146 yards. Oh, Joy, is that putting concerns to rest? Now, Joy, I love what you did, though. You said, well, take away that run, my best outfit over here, my homegirl over here, and then what you look like. You can't do that to a running attack because most of the time it's 3 yards, it's 3 yards, it's 6 yards, it's 3 yards, and then it's a big one to boost that average. I like what I saw from the Dallas Cowboys last night. Now, the one thing I would change about this team that would literally put all things to rest is for Ezekiel Elliott not to get the main touches, the mainstay of the carries. Just to be real, let's call Ezekiel Elliott who he really is. He's Pigpen. You remember that dude from Charlie Brown? Just a cloud of dust. That's all Zeke is, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. He is not slashing. He is not Tony Pollard. He is not hitting the home runs. Ezekiel Elliott is just a guy who's just going to kick up some dust. And he's not the guy that's going to tenderize the defense. That's what the argument is. Oh, Zeke sets it up, and then Tony Pollard comes in there and gets all the rewards. I'm not seeing that at all. But in terms of concerns for this team is 8-4, 2 games up in its division, and has a pretty easy schedule going forward. All concerns, just as a figure of speech, have been put to rest.
No, Marcellus. I don't know if this falls into absolutes or not, but no, they have not put all concerns to rest because what are the concerns? The concerns are, can they make good on the apple of Jerry Jones's eye, which is to win a Super Bowl? Are they a genuine Super Bowl contender? Did they put to rest the idea that they can win the division? We might be able to make that case. I don't know if we can absolutely make that case, but we can make a case that they restored our confidence in that. Looking at how this game unfolded, though, it wasn't a dominant performance by any means. Taysom Hill basically decided at the end of this game, look, you can have it, Cowboys, okay? Who am I going to hit next? The last 3 throws, I mean, basically gave this game up. I'm not going to blame the first interception on him, but down the stretch, this game was still in the balance, and Taysom Hill literally turned it over to the Cowboys. My bigger concern, and I don't know if you guys have had this, you have a friend who is always asking for something. Can you come on my show? Can you come on my podcast? Can I borrow the car? Like they ask and they ask and they ask. And finally, even though you know it's not a good idea, you're finally, okay, you can have the car. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is the Cowboys for me. For year after year after year, they've been begging. Their fans have been begging. Skip Bayless has been begging. They're a Super Bowl team. Now they've got it. This is the year. Now they're going to do it. And I bought in this year. I finally relented this year. And what I saw last night, and I've seen the last few weeks, reminded me that no, they're not. They are a good team. Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. But he needs everything to be clicking around him in order to be a top quarterback. He's going to take advantage of his advantages, but he's not going to create those advantages. So if you have Ezekiel Elliott off, if you have your wide receiving core not healthy, if your defense isn't coming up with big plays, then I ask, who is the game changer for them? Who is that piece that makes everybody around him better? It's not Dak Prescott. And as I look across the board, I don't see that guy. And so that's where, are they a good team? Yes. Should they win the division still? Yes. But does last night erase the concerns that I've had, the growing concerns that, you know what, they're just a good team. They're not a Super Bowl team. By no means did anything that happened last night convince me otherwise, that they are more than anything but a good team.
Rick, I did the same thing.
What'd you do?
I did the same thing.
What?
I finally gave in this year. I was like, no, I believe. I believe in the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They're always entertaining. They're America's team. They've always got something going on. Yep. It's fun. It's exciting. There's stars. It's Jerry Jones. Big plays. Big talk. And then we see what happens in the playoffs. It's the same story every time, at least for the last 20 years. Yeah, this year I was like, no, they really look like contenders. I believe in the Cowboys. And for the most part, I still do. But I'm answering the question literally. Yes, I still have concerns. And yes, it is in that space. It's the running game and the offensive line. I think we all still have this idea that this offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys is the same offensive line that they had Zeke and Dak's rookie year. And it's not. And over the past couple weeks, when they've been losing, which is what you want to pay attention to, because this is a trend once you start to hit 3 games, this is a problem. In the last 3 games, Dak is getting pressured an average of 10 times per game. That's 30 quarterback pressures total. In his first 8 games, he was only pressured 6.6 times per game. That's 53. So it is a concerning uptick on how much more pressure Dak is having to deal with, on top of the fact that they're not able to run the ball. And you saw last night, now look, we can talk about what Kellen Moore was actually doing, but if you're going to go 3 and out, at least go 3 and out trying to run the ball so you can run the clock out. So that's a whole other conversation that we don't need to have. Okay. But when you're in that situation, you do want to try and see what you have there. Run the ball. You have to emphasize that. There's going to be points in the next couple games where they are going to need to rely on the run game. It's just the way football works. So those are my concerns, the offensive line and the run game. It doesn't mean that they're not going to win the division. It doesn't mean that they're not going to win a playoff game. But what we're talking about is, are we concerned about them being able to win a championship? It's implied in the question.
Oh, Joy. Oh, you fighting back. Okay. Let's go to war. I wonder if y'all have any concerns with the other NFC contenders out there.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do? You have concerns for everyone, right? So therefore, we're going back to my first lap, which was basically, this is not to be taken literally. This is supposed to be kind of like figuratively, or a figure of speech, loosely taken. But let's go and tighten this up. Cowboys, were they in Super Bowl conversations early in the season, especially when they were 6-1? Absolutely,
Yes.
correct? Was Dak in MVP conversations when they were 6-1? Yes. Absolutely. And when I see them have their best rushing attack since they were 6-1, since they were 7-0 now, then they have 100 yards or more rushing. Joy, you still got concerns with their rushing attack? I don't know why. When they force 4 turnovers like they did last night, the most since they did in week 1. When you look at them, not only stopping Taysom Hill, who stopped himself, he had a hand injury, whatever degree that hurt his chances out there. That was part of it. But his hand had nothing to do with that running attack. What did we see last night? 14 carries, 51 yards for the New Orleans Saints running backs. No Alvin Kamara, but still, they're running backs. So the Dallas Cowboys went out there and played good defense, went out there, started their rushing attack, made it look like it used to look when they were a power in this league early in this season. And now I look around and I don't see any team that doesn't have issues. You guys keep telling me it's the same old Cowboys. What are they going to do when they get to the playoffs? I ask you this. What is Green Bay going to do when they get to the playoffs? What is Aaron Rodgers going to do when they get to the playoffs? What is Aaron Rodgers' record in NFC championship games? Anybody? 1-4. Okay. But y'all don't have any concerns with them? Okay. What about Arizona? What they look like in the playoffs? Oh, anybody? Nobody knows. We ain't going to put that full screen up. What about these Rams right now, these struggling pick 6 Rams that are out there? Anybody? They lost 3 straight games. And the only team you can kind of look at, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and all you're doing is borrowing from last year and then adding it to what you think they're going to turn into going forward because Tom Brady's there and they're going to get healthy and AB is finally vaccinated. So the point is, every team has issues. Why are we going to exaggerate the ones with the star? Why are we going to exaggerate them for the Cowboys?
Marcellus, you just went from absolutist to not be absolutist to be futuristic. Like you just took all the reasons why we shouldn't like other teams in the NFC because of what they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Rather than look at what the Green Bay Packers, I think the Green Bay Packers look pretty good right now. If you're asking me if I'm going to compare what the Packers look like right now and the Dallas Cowboys look like right now, I'm going to go with the Green Bay Packers based on what I am seeing. And if we are going to really parse what that question is, and we're going to look at all those words, then let's look at the one word that you seem to be skipping over, which is, has it erased all concerns? There's no way that what they did last night can erase all concerns because, to Joey's point, it didn't erase the concerns of the rushing game, which is why I started with talking about Dak Prescott not being a difference maker or wanting to rely. Joy said it. You don't want to put Dak in a position where you have to rely on him too much. You want him to be able to do what he does and take advantage of the pieces around him, but you're not asking him to go out and outright win the game the way you would an Aaron Rodgers, to throw people open, etc. So is there concern? Yes, there has to be concern because the offensive line has not played to the same level, because the rushing game is not there, because your wide receiving core has been dinged up, and we've seen how much Dak struggles when he doesn't have all the weapons around him. So has last night beating the New Orleans Saints, who Taysom Hill decided to come over and help you get the job done, that's going to erase all my concerns about what the Cowboys have been the last few weeks? It is impossible that result, that performance is going to erase all my concerns that the Dallas Cowboys may not be a Super Bowl contender this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. Taysom Hill definitely deserved the game ball from the Cowboys yesterday. But we're talking about all the concerns for all these other teams. We're not talking about the other teams right now. I have concerns about almost every team in the NFL right now. There's a lot of parity going on right now, but we're not talking about all of them. When we talk about them, then I'll list the concerns I have about them. We're talking about the Cowboys, and I have some concerns about them. I am a realist. Some may confuse that with being a pessimist, but it is in fact a realist. And I watched the game last night. That's why the box score might tell you that the Cowboys got back on track with the running game. But if you watched the game, you saw that they, in fact, didn't. They had one explosive play from Tony Pollard. That's great. I'm not going to exclude it, but I am going to have the entire perspective of what happened in that game. And it was not a good running game performance by the Cowboys. And whether you want to put all of that on the offensive line or some of it, and some of it on Zeke, and some of it on his injury, and some of it on Tony Pollard should get more carries, I don't know what the solution is. Mike McCarthy will be back next week, likely, and then they'll figure it out, hopefully. But that's what the concern is right now. And I think that that's fair. Are they still a good team, good/great team? Yes. Are they going to win the division? Yes. Am I optimistic-ish about it? No, because I'm a realist.
You're a realist?
I know what I watched last night.
Okay,
I know what I watched last night. You're not going to talk me out of it. I have some concerns about the Cowboys. It's not panic time. They did exactly what they were supposed to do against a reeling opponent with a non-quarterback
gadget
playing at the quarterback position and turning the ball over at a very high amount. So they did what they were supposed to do. But looking forward, you can still be a little bit concerned about the running game.
And that's coming from Joy the realist. Okay, now you're going to make me have to quote the great philosopher, Andre 3000. Because Andre told me that if you say real talk, I probably don't trust you. And you said you real, you the realist.
Say that. I said realist.
I don't know if I should.
Realistic.
Okay, America.
Realistic is different. Don't change the word.
Andre said that you need to call him up if you can reach him. Here's the thing. You said that the running game wasn't on track. And the running game still is an issue for concern. When that 6.1 yards per carry we watched last night was the best for the Cowboys since week 4, when everyone was talking about them potentially being in the Super Bowl. But that's still an issue for you. Then you guys bring up injuries. When we see a CeeDee Lamb come back, when we see Amari Cooper come back, tongue hanging out because he tired from the COVID, but he's still on the team. We see DeMarcus Lawrence back. We see that they're getting healthy at the right time. But that's still a concern for you guys. Okay, it's interesting. Then y'all bring up Taysom Hill, who gets the Dallas game ball, right? And I know this about the game of football, and y'all know it too. You don't walk out there and give anybody anything. They take it. And these Dallas Cowboys, they were taking that football away from Taysom Hill. These Dallas Cowboys injured Taysom Hill. These Dallas Cowboys went out there. Whoa, what was that? 4 interceptions right there by the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what world y'all living in, man, but it sounds like y'all a little more pessimistic than I, so I shall go to break. Coming up, the Patriots and Bills have a big matchup Monday night, but we'll tell you which team has more to prove. But first, the Rams have lost 3 straight. So are they Super Bowl contenders or pretenders? We'll answer that next on Speak for Yourself.
The Rams have lost 3 straight, but they'll try to get back on track against the Jaguars Sunday on Fox. Some would say LA has built a super team, bringing in Matthew Stafford, Von Miller, and Odell Beckham Jr. But our own Troy Aikman is not a fan of the concept, saying, quote, "I've never seen it work in the NFL." So Marcellus, are the Rams Super Bowl contenders or pretenders?
I think they're pretenders, but I'm not saying that with emphasis, no exclamation point. A lot of the word is the same as contenders. It's just pre or con. So I'm just going with they're pretenders just because I haven't seen it and I can't visualize it coming to fruition. I must disagree with our own Troy Aikman because I have seen a super team work. Matter of fact, I think it was the team he was on. Damn it, that looked like a super team. I was a little one. I was a youngsters, but Charles Haley, Deion Sanders on top of Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, Michael Irvin, those additions helped that team get over the hump and sustain their greatness. So I don't know what you would consider that, but this situation all coming together in 1 year with a quarterback who has had no playoff success, I understand where Troy is coming from. Now, this is why I think that they may be contenders. I'm already splitting hairs here. I think that they may be contenders because they've had a little bit of a gauntlet in terms of the last 3 games that they played. Walk with me here. They played the Tennessee Titans without Derrick Henry. I don't know about y'all, but if you see that team without Derrick Henry the first week he's gone, let's just say you may be mailing it in terms of expecting the opponent to be great. And then all of a sudden you get hit in the mouth and you realize, damn, they're still a capable team. The margin of error in the NFL is still very slim. Give them a little bit of a pass, right? Then you got to play the San Francisco 49ers. I don't care how good the Rams are. I don't care how bad the 49ers were at that time. That's always going to be a game. Matter of fact, it seems like the 49ers have the Rams number in terms of those matchups. Okay, now I'm starting to give them another pass. Then you got to go out to Green Bay. Green Bay, like one of the top teams in the NFL with Aaron Rodgers. And it's chilly out there. And you lose that game as well. Y'all see how these dominoes are starting to fall? Where there may be a perception that they are pretenders, but in reality, maybe they are contenders. But I look at this team in totality. For them to get over the hump, they need Matthew Stafford. And the doubt birds are always circling around Matthew Stafford. I don't care how fast he started. Remember, they were 7-1. Everybody's like, oh, my God, look at Matthew Stafford. Hollywood movie. It's going to be a storybook ending. Boy, I better keep still and keep watching that movie because, like anything, drama, it has to be a part of the story. And in this situation, I think we're going through the dramatic effect of this Rams season. But I think they will rebound and potentially be a contender. But right now, I can understand where you say pretender.
I don't think I've ever been called a doubt bird before, but yeah, I would be one of those circling Matthew Stafford right now. Marcellus, you are going deep into the etymology, by the way. Let's just look at every one of these words and take them apart. And I think you may have just convinced yourself that they are contenders. But to answer the question, no, they are pretenders. And they are pretenders because Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl pretending quarterback. He is the first example, Exhibit A, of that statistics don't always tell the entire story. Because as of right now, statistically, when you look at his numbers for the season, they still look very good. But then you have to consider, who did he get those numbers against? And what has he looked like of late when he's had to play the kind of teams that the Rams are going to have to get past once they get to the postseason? They have had an incredibly soft schedule, and he has made the most of it. But in these last 3 games, all losses, they've either faced a top 10 team or a top 10 defense, and suddenly the numbers don't look nearly as good. There's been this whole narrative that's been created around Stafford, which was great quarterback on a bad team for the better part of his career. And now finally he gets the opportunity to play on a good to great team. And what are we seeing? We're seeing, well, maybe the reason the Lions weren't all that good is because he wasn't that great. And I understand why Sean McVay went and got him, because he saw the resilience of Matt Stafford. In spite of those bad teams, Matt Stafford never lost his confidence. He never stopped coming. He never stopped trying to make the big play, no matter how many INTs he might throw. But there's a distinction when you become part of a great team and you're chasing a Super Bowl, which is, yes, you have to be resilient. You have to be able to shrug off those mistakes the way Jared Goff was not able to. He would get gun shy after he made a couple mistakes early. But then you have to come through and make the big play. And that's the difference that I'm seeing. That's the discovery that I'm getting with Matt Stafford is, yes, he doesn't lose his guts and his willingness to try to throw into a tight window or to make a big play. Against the better teams, he's just not making it. He will follow up one missed throw with another missed throw, with another mistake. And when I look at where the Rams want to go, they are, I believe they have just about everything else, or enough. But Matt Stafford was supposed to be that piece that puts them over the top. And now what I'm seeing is, I don't know that Stafford is up to the task. So that's where I believe they're pretenders. Because I believe Matt Stafford as a Super Bowl quarterback is a pretender.
So doubt birds?
You better not.
I'm getting right.
Oh, you're going to be on TikTok with that one.
Mr. Rick Bucher. I don't get it. I understand it was very exciting. Sean McVay was thrilled about this Matthew Stafford move. He was the heart eye emoji, just glowing. Oh, it's so cute when she burps, all that stuff. Okay, but now we're in the thick of it, right? We're going into December, and you've lost 3 straight games. And to your point, Marcellus, if you're really a contender, you should be beating good teams. It can't be an excuse that you lost three games, but they were to really good teams. Well, shouldn't you be beating good teams if you're a contender? Because that's what you're going to have to beat in the playoffs. I don't think it's over for the Rams. They can turn this around. Okay. But my question with the Rams, and particularly with Matthew Stafford, is he like a made man or something? Because it seems like it is taboo to go at Matthew Stafford. Yeah. Now listen, nobody likes to go at Detroit, right? Like, that's not fun to pick on Detroit. So we really overall give the Lions a pass for how completely dysfunctional they've been for a very, very long time. But there's other organizations around the league who are also dysfunctional and have managed to have up seasons similar to Matthew Stafford, right? So there's this conversation around Matthew Stafford that he was just so talented. To Rick, everything Rick was just saying, he's just so talented. He's just with a dysfunctional organization. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's look at another traditionally dysfunctional organization. Rick knows this team well, the Cincinnati Bengals. Who was with them for many, many years, who we don't think is particularly talented, Andy Dalton. Let's take a little side by side of Andy Dalton and Matthew Stafford.
Oh, damn.
Is there any dramatic difference here? The Cincinnati Bengals are a dysfunctional organization. The Detroit Lions are a dysfunctional organization. Yet we don't look at Andy Dalton even the same breath as Matthew Stafford, and people are going to come at me for comparing them. But that's what it is. So I'm not saying that Matthew Stafford isn't more talented than Andy Dalton. My question is, when Matthew Stafford is turning over the ball at the rate that he is, when he is throwing pick sixes at the rate that he's throwing them, if this was any other quarterback on a contending team, we would be losing our collective minds. But immediately we default to what is the other issue with the Rams other than Matthew Stafford. He's the quarterback. You traded Jared Goff, who was played in a Super Bowl just a few years ago, to the Lions, took Matthew Stafford because he is supposed to be significantly better than Jared Goff. I'm going to let this go around again before I get to the statistics to compare Jared Goff to Matthew Stafford. The reason that they're struggling is because they don't have a run game. Sean McVay is falling in love with Matthew Stafford and leaning into whatever his talents are rather than running the ball. There are issues for that. Obviously, they lost Cam Akers. Yeah. But you have to lay this at the feet of the guy that touches the ball the most, the quarterback. He's the leader. He can't skate on the responsibility for losing this game because any other quarterback would be getting the heat for the team struggling. And for whatever reason, Matthew Stafford doesn't.
Woo! Fire take from Joy. Oh, man, you made me really have to show up and do some work today. Now it's time for me to be who I really am. I am a defense attorney at heart. And damn it.
Well, I'm the prosecution.
I've noticed. Okay, we're going to see how this plays out. And Slick, you're a biased judge right now because I know you're already leaning with Joy, but I'm going to convince you otherwise. Wow, Slick Rick wouldn't take a quarterback that's 0-3 in the playoffs and ever think that quarterback will ever be a Super Bowl champion because he would think that 0-3 quarterback is a Super Bowl pretender, correct? And last time I checked, let me just look into my resume, and then I see some precedents. You see, I'm a good defense attorney. And I see this name right here. I had to try a case before by the name of Peyton Manning, who was 0-3 in the playoffs, and he was never labeled. Oh, yes, he was labeled, but I got him off that case. I got him off those charges. 0-3, remember those? 3-6 in his first 9 playoff games, and people were calling him a pretender. How that turned out. Now, I'm not saying Matthew Stafford is Peyton Manning by any stretch. However, the law applies to all. The law applies universally to all, no matter who you are. So I'm not going to let you do that, Joy. Contempt of court, too. First of all, contempt, Joy. All right. If I'm Matthew Stafford, let me really defend my client. He's saying these issues are bigger than Matthew Stafford, like Nino Brown would say. They were 7-1. They turned into a 7-4 team, and everyone's like, it's the pick sixes that did it. I'm going to tell you what this team really is going through. Matthew Stafford, after this team, scores 38 points, 28 points, 38 points, 16, 10, and 28 points. Kind of a lot of points, right? Up there. You know what happens? The defense goes the other way. I don't know. You tell me this. Yeah, I knew. Joy, yeah. Let's go back. I'm going to give you, after that Giants game, when they gave up 11, every week, the defense is giving up more points every single week. Let's do it. 11, 19, 22, 28, 31, 36. The defense is leaking oil. Check engine light. And last time I checked, they got they have superstars on defense. But they are giving up more points every single week. But that's the quarterback. Most glorified position, right? Gets all the blame, gets all the praise. So all we're going to look at is the pick sixes and Matthew Stafford's performances. All I'm saying is there's a lot of money on that other side of the ball that's not holding up their end of the bargain. Case dismissed.
Dismissed?
Okay, with the Peyton Manning comparison, yes, he lost early on. And then they upgraded the team, and what did he do? He won. That's what I'm seeing with Matt Stafford right now. He's gotten the upgrade. He's gone from economy plus or all the way in the back of the plane. Then now he's in first class and he's having the opportunity. And yet, what has remained the same? Can I get my history on Matt Stafford and what he does against winning teams versus losing teams? I don't mean just with the Detroit Lions. I mean this season with the Rams in LA and the team that he has around him. He's 1-4 against winning teams this year. That is what he was 10-59 when it came to playing in Detroit against winning teams. There's a common denominator here. It's Matt Stafford. It's not the teams that were built around him. So ultimately, I don't know how I can separate Matt Stafford from his performance this season with a better team and make that comparison to Peyton Manning upgrading. And you saying you were not comparing him to Peyton Manning.
Just the law.
You were directly comparing him
Just the precedent
to Peyton Manning. That was your one example of why I should believe that Matt Stafford is going to win a Super Bowl with the Los Angeles Rams, is that Peyton Manning started off rough and ended up winning Super Bowls. That isn't enough, defense attorney, to convince me that your client is innocent by any stretch of the imagination. It still comes back to Matt Stafford and what he has and hasn't done over the last 3 weeks, quite honestly, more than anything else, is the fact that he has played not even against the best teams, just about consistently good teams. And for your point about the defense, when my offense is throwing pick sixes, when my offense is turning the ball over, and because I don't have a running game and because my quarterback can't consistently get me first downs, and my defense is on the field a lot more than I'd like it to be, suddenly, it looks a little weaker than it might actually be.
Oh, take us to church, Rick.
So we're in court of church. Tabernacle.
Let the church say amen.
Amen.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know how much I want to pick apart what you said, Marcellus, but he's in LA now. This is LA. You're with the LA Rams, a very aggressive organization who was just in the Super Bowl a few years ago. So this bubble wrap stuff with Matthew Stafford is off. This is Hollywood. There are expectations here. And guess what? Lincoln Riley's at USC now. So any kind of slippage with the LA Rams can go down here very quickly. People forget about you out here really quick. So they must stay competitive. So all of this, like, it's the defense and all this stuff, no. You're the quarterback. It falls at your feet. And to your point about all the points the defense is giving up, Matthew Stafford's helping with that too. That's what pick sixes are. That's points for the other team.
I knew you.
That's points for the other team. The last time I checked, his bubble wrap is off. Okay, here's what it really comes down to. If you want to find an excuse, and the defense is a reason, the defense not an excuse. Let's not do excuses. Let's do reasons why it's not all Matthew Stafford's fault. And to be clear, it's not all Matthew Stafford's fault, but it is his responsibility as the quarterback, and he is the big trade, and he is the acquisition, and he is the leader. So aside from the defense, who has been struggling, Marcellus, it's the running game because it's being put on Matthew Stafford. The Rams have gotten away from their identity. What they did when they won the Super Bowl, what Sean McVay likes to do is run the ball, and they are not running the ball consistently. Part of that is injuries. It's understandable. But you have to fix it. It's everything we were just talking about with the Cowboys. You are not going to be able to rely on Matthew Stafford like this. Odell is injured again. He might not play this week. You already lost Robert Woods. So you're going to have to rely on the run game at some point. You're going to have to lean into it. And as Rick just mentioned, that helps everything else. It takes a little bit off Matthew Stafford. It gets you back to the Rams' identity. It takes some pressure off of your defense. You don't want to become a completely finesse team. We know what happens to finesse teams in the playoffs. So if you're really contenders, that's what they have to fix. Sean McVay is a football genius. He knows that. But some of this responsibility has to fall on Matthew Stafford if they're really going to be contenders. You
want to have a settlement agreement now? Nah, I want to be contentious up in this courtroom. One of us is going to jail today. Okay, you know why? Because you just came on here and told me, Mr. Los Angeles native, the only one of these boxes that's a native. I'm not from Pittsburgh, Florida, wherever you from, Joy, Miami, Pennsylvania. Look, Look, you're not going to tell me how L.A. is. I'm going to tell you how L.A. is. We keep it real. It's the outsiders who fake up L.A., and the outsiders come up here and tell us how to be. So now I'm going to tell you why Matthew Stafford gets a pass. Because Matthew Stafford in Detroit was the great student at the bad school. Oh, my God, like lean on me, need Joe Clark or something. Because that's why we are still bubble wrapping Matthew Stafford. Everyone sees his promise. Everyone sees his greatness. Now he's in a situation where it took root very fast. A little rough patch, and all of a sudden you guys want to uproot it. Let's look at the other side of the ball, as we talked about. Let's look at the running game, as we talked about. Let's not just point at Matthew Stafford, who has just scored the 8th most amount of points in the NFL this year, which will put you in Super Bowl contention. So last time I checked, and Judge, I know you're going to rule in my favor, so I'll just say this for you. Case dismissed. Coming up, Lamar Jackson's Ravens won last week, but he said he felt like a rookie. Damn. Joy, we're going to beef on this one, too. We'll tell you if Lamar needs to make a statement against the Steelers. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. Tomorrow, Jim Harbaugh, my man, leads his second-ranked Michigan Wolverines into their first ever Big Ten championship game. Looking to punch their ticket to the playoffs against number 13, Iowa. Coverage begins 7 Eastern, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Now let's talk to another Harbaugh, John, whose Ravens actually won last week. But his quarterback, Lamar Jackson, threw 4 interceptions and said he, quote, looked like a rookie. Ravens have now scored more than 16 points in 3 straight games, but they'll try to get back on track Sunday against the Steelers. So, Joy, does Lamar Jackson need to make a statement against the Steelers?
Yes, the Steelers are not good. This is a divisional opponent.
Oh, yeah.
But because it is a divisional opponent and because it is the Steelers, this is a game that both these teams get up for. You know how it is. This is one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL. So I don't anticipate, even though the Steelers are struggling, that this is going to be a weak game. But that's all the more reason why I want to see more out of Lamar.
Yeah.
At this point, we know which way the Steelers are trending. We expect the Baltimore Ravens to make some noise in the playoffs. This last game for Lamar was not good. Those kind of interceptions cannot happen, especially as you're going into the postseason. But the difference between what we saw last night in a 4-interception game and the interception game with Lamar is that they won. And that is because they were able to overcome his mistakes. And that's what a franchise quarterback does. Not a shot at Taysom Hill, but that is the point. Like, you are able to overcome these. So what happens when you don't turn the ball over that much? This is a statement game for the Ravens and from Lamar Jackson. I don't anticipate it's going to be a blowout. We're not talking about 20, 30 points or anything like that. You don't need them to win like that. Look, it wasn't a blowout last night, but the Cowboys made the statement they needed to make overall as a team against the Saints, who are an inferior opponent, who are struggling with their third quarterback. So I'm in on the Ravens winning. I think it will be close. I think the Steelers will cover, which is -4 right now. The Ravens favored, so we'll just slip that in there. But according to Fox Bet, I think the Steelers cover, but I do think that Lamar needs to have a much better performance, a more solid, consistent performance. And throughout the rest of the season, actually, I think the teams that are at the top need to really have some statement wins. We're in December now. We're out of the middle of the season. Everyone's banged up, so I don't want to hear anything about injuries. You need to have statement wins moving forward.
I'm with you there. Lamar needs to make a statement. My brother from another, I love me some Lamar Jackson. Like, I don't root for any other team outside of the ones I played for, except the Ravens, just because of Lamar Jackson, a guy who just against all odds. And every time they put a wall of adversity in front of him, he overcomes it. I know that was painful for you to say that the Steelers are not good, because obviously that's your team, at least to your heart.
I told you I'm a realist.
Yeah, you maybe too real. Like, with friends like you, who needs enemies? Like, I love the fact that you broke it down and kept it real. I give you that. Now let's keep it real about Lamar Jackson. Here's this game for Lamar Jackson. I always talk about there's 2 scoreboards, the dual scoreboards. One has points on it, and everyone can see that, right? If you're not too in tune with the game, that's all you see. Oh, we won, we lost. There's another scoreboard, and it's called the psyche. It's called the psychology. It's called Uncle Mo. It's called what you're feeling, despite what the points may say. Because sometimes you can feel really good, even though you lose a game by points. You can feel good about a performance. I bring up the New York Giants when they played against the undefeated Patriots, and they lost that game in points. They felt good about themselves and saw them again and finally got it done. I think this is one of those statement games for Lamar Jackson in terms of the psyche. Now, they need to beat the Steelers because by points, you're a better team than them, so let's just get the W. But more than that, the challenge for Lamar Jackson right now is, hey, Lamar, we're undermanned, and you know that. Coming into this season, we have the unanimous MVP on a team that has been injured, hobbled, crippled, whatever you want to call it. So not only do we need you to be who you are, which is the man, we need you to be a little bit more than what you are. And you are a unanimous MVP. So that challenge for Lamar Jackson is still out there. How good are you, Lamar Jackson, especially when it matters most? His playoff struggles. He got one monkey off his back. He got a playoff win, correct?
Yes.
But in terms of performance, in terms of psyche, there's still a conversation about Lamar Jackson not playing up to standard in the playoffs. Why? Basically, a lot of people would say that Buffalo Bills game came down to that pick 60 through, and that's why they lost. So now, not only is there a challenge for Lamar Jackson to just keep this thing afloat like he has, but there's also that challenge of, hey, man, we're going to get into the playoffs real soon. Who are you? Are you Lamar Jackson the great, or are you just Lamar Jackson all right? And if Lamar Jackson doesn't answer moments like this, I don't think he's going to have the confidence of his full bunch.
Yeah, if he doesn't answer moments like this, they're going to start talking about him the way that we talk about Andy Dalton and Matthew Stafford, which is that you're really good during the regular season and you don't get it done in the postseason.
Say it.
And the Baltimore Ravens are a very well-run organization. So that's the difference with that. You're right. He has a 1-3 record in the playoffs.
Aye.
You know, passing touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 5 fumbles, 2 losses, has been sacked 19 times, 68.3 passer rating. Now, obviously, we're not in the playoffs yet, but that's why this is a statement game. This is a big divisional matchup against a Steelers team that is reeling. I don't need to read all the bad stats about this Ben Roethlisberger. We know it's over. Steelers, they're struggling. They're struggling right now. There's talks about, you know, do we need to have music in practice and stuff? Is that that's where we're at
Chase,
with the Steelers.
Damn.
So this is a reeling team. You are leading the division. You are a league MVP. You're coming off of a bad game. You need to be convincing. Again, I don't need a blowout win. The score isn't really essential. It's how you perform during the game. Don't get caught up in the box score of it, to your point. A psyche game. And we're in December now. So these are the games where you really want to be going into the postseason, feeling good, minimizing injuries, fixing mistakes, making sure that all aspects of the game are rolling and you feel good going into the playoffs, because you don't have the best record in the playoffs. You don't have the performances in the playoffs that would make us feel like, even if you're struggling in December, that we should feel confident about what you're doing in the postseason. So I do think this is a really big game for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it is December. It's money time, so let's bring in our money man. Whoa, where is he? Woo, look at that Wi-Fi. Slow, you on cellular. Let's bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. Dusty. So, Bucky, does Lamar Jackson need to make a statement against the Steelers?
Absolutely, he needs to make a statement. He needs to make a statement because he hasn't played well. He hasn't played well in the last 5 games. He has 9 interceptions, too many giveaways, too many turnovers. In fact, in the last 4 games, 3 times, the Baltimore Ravens have scored 17 points or fewer. So this is a huge game for the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. You need your MVP quarterback to play at a high enough level where they feel confident going into the postseason. I worry about Lamar Jackson because we haven't seen vintage Lamar Jackson all year. We've seen flashes, but we haven't seen the dominant performance that we're accustomed to seeing. At some point, you want to see that performance because, look, he's the best guy that they have on offense. He's the most important player on their team. He is the guy that makes them go. If he is not playing well, their stay in the postseason will be a short one. So it's time for Lamar Jackson to show up and show out. I expect to see that against the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend.
See, Bucky, look, I agree with you, but then you start going a little too far with it because you saw us head nodding over there, and the next thing you know, he ain't showed us all year long that he's Lamar Jackson. Do you remember that Indianapolis Colts game? I do. I know it felt like a game of 2 halves, but 4 touchdowns. What do you have, like 400 yards passing, 140 passer rating? Lamar Jackson-ish, if nothing else. But I'm with you. Much is given, much is expected, and you are Lamar Jackson. You are a unanimous MVP. There are only 2 that have ever existed, and you're one of them. So, Lamar Jackson, not only do we need you to be the man, we need you to be more than the man. Let me take you to 2 scenarios. One, my wife and I don't know where we got them from, Restoration Hardware or IKEA, Pottery Barn, some of these coasters we have in our house. And it's funny, they have little sayings on it. My wife, she has one on her sink that says, "I'm the favorite one." All right, she is. She's my favorite person in the house outside of MJ or Raya. Let me stop. Okay, I love my wife. But then my coaster says, "I'm the rich one." Now, I ain't picked that one, but, I know I'll make the bread in the house, and my wife is right there, right behind me, right? So everyone in our house has these little coasters that has their little roll on it. We laugh at it, right? Why do I bring that up? Because, Bucky, Joy, you know what this is about. This is about Lamar Jackson has to cover the tab for this team. I don't care how much the tab is. You are the rich one. You are the one that much was given, so much is expected. I give it to you like this. I remember when I got drafted and I went and pick up my uncles and, we going to take them to eat. We kicking it. Now, I pick up my uncle. They still in the hub, so they still in Compton. We can pick them up. All right, where y'all want to go eat? I'm saying stuff that they ain't never heard of. I'm giggling because I just heard about it. And then they like, nah, we ain't going there. Red Lobster or something, a little above the pay grade, but still keep it around where we at. All right, so we get up in there. And then the bill comes. There's never a moment in my mind that I'm expecting them to pick up that bill because nephew got it, right? I think this Baltimore Ravens team is looking like Lamar Jackson, like especially when playoff time comes. Look around, bro. We're on our 5th running back, and he off the streets. Look around, bro. We're compromised everywhere it goes. So Lamar Jackson, who is the man, who is the one that has it in abundance, is going to have to cover up some of the issues for this team. And I believe in him. I believe he can actually do that.
Yeah, I believe in him too. But he's got to go out there and prove it. And this is the time of year where the buck stops. This is December. This is where you need to be performing at the highest level. We just showed their schedule. They have several division opponents coming up, including the Steelers this weekend. And this is the game that we're talking about. And you're talking about, as Bucky mentioned, the vintage Lamar Jackson that we haven't seen. He's tied for second most in interceptions in the league right now.
Ouch.
Can't do that. Like, if you're going to rely on him, if you're going to pick up the tab, you can't have any concerns that you put that credit card down, it's going to come back to you.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
All right, it's got to go through. If you're picking up the tab, you got to have it in the bank. So I think that Lamar is capable of it. We've all seen what he's capable of when he is playing at a highest level. So we know, we've seen it. We've seen the capabilities that he has. He just has to get it rolling. And I think that it's very important that he starts this weekend against the Steelers, a division opponent that we know is going to get up for this game because it's, as I said, one of the biggest rivalries in the NFL.
Joy, you're so right. Because, see, Marcellus, I'm one of your homies. So when you came into your money, I'm one of the guys that is hanging around. And so I love you, but my love is conditional. Yeah. Because as long as you're a big baller, I'm always around. But when you fall off a little bit, I may find another person to share my time with just because it may not be going right for you. And it doesn't mean that I don't love you any less, but I like to have my tab picked up. And so if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, I just want to make sure that Lamar Jackson can continue to pick up the tab. Look, he's been an MVP. He's been the best player on the planet for some time. However, we now want to see him continue to play like that because you know how it is. The league is a what have you done for me lately league. And lately, he has not been that player. So at some point, we just want to see it. We just want to see the vintage Lamar Jackson come back, do all the things that he's always been able to do, put the team on his back so we can see this team make a run. Because in spite of all the injuries that they've had to endure, the one thing that we always took comfort and solace in, we have number 8. We have the best player on the planet. He can make everything okay. So now I just need Lamar Jackson to make everything okay. So the love for you is deep. It's just conditional. That's all.
Conditional. Y'all act like this dude got a credit limit. Y'all act like this dude, like the way his checking and savings work, that it don't go through. Debit card. Like, what the hell you think? He got a black card. He ain't even got no credit card. I get what I want because I'm Lamar Jackson, that damn talented. Ugh. Y'all bringing me back, though. My uncles did charge me up with them Cheddar Bay biscuits. Boy, I was like, God dang, how many biscuits you want?
Biscuits are good,
them biscuits be banging. But he didn't need 3 dozens of them. Coming up, the Patriots and the Bills are fighting for the AFC East crown. We'll tell you which team has more to prove. That's next. Don't speak for yourself.
The Patriots are the hottest team in the NFL with their 6-game win streak. Next up is a big AFC East matchup against the Bills, who have split their last 4 games. Buffalo is looking up at New England in the division, but they have the second best odds to win the AFC, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook, while the Patriots have the 3rd spot. So, Marcellus.
Yes, ma'am.
Who has more to prove, the Patriots or the Bills?
Oh, I'm learning this television game right here that it doesn't help you to be on both sides, right? Because I think in my heart, both teams have something to prove. But let me start off and say it's the Buffalo Bills. What do they have to prove? They got to prove that they're not a punk. And when I say that, I mean, like, look, the Patriots used to own the Buffalo Bills. I used to be there. I was a Buffalo Bill. And I was like, damn, these Patriots, it seemed like we were better than them. It seemed like we had more talent, more athletic, whatever you want to say, blah, blah, blah. Then you just look up at the score and you're like, damn, they got us again, despite our efforts. So the same Buffalo Bills organization that hasn't beaten the New England Patriots 3 straight games since I was a player, 1999, 2000, needs to go out there and say, hey, we still have dominance, recent dominance over you, New England Patriots. So they got to prove that they're not a punk, because if not, let me tell you what you're facing. Not only are you going to face a team that is going to go out there and play efficient football, a team that is surging at the right time, a team that is the best coached team in the NFL, but you're going to be faced with the haunting ghost of that greatness. You're going to be faced with the uniform, the colors, the mystique, the presence. Everything that you could think in imagery of the New England Patriots is going to bleed over into what you're seeing right now. And it's not even going to make sense. It's going to be irrational, because Tom Brady's not on this field. 6 Super Bowls are not on the field with you, but you're going to be thinking about a dynasty while you're playing against a rookie in Mac Jones. And that's what the Patriots are trying to bring. Not only efficient football, but the dominance and the dominance of their psyche. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, I would warn you guys, you better go out there and ball out and let these dudes know that you're not a punk. If not, here we go again. There go the old Patriots.
Oh, Marcellus, I'm right there with you. I am concerned for Bills Mafia, not necessarily because of the punk out reasons that you outlined. I worry about this team being perceived as soft. And I know it's weird to talk about a team that is number one in defense being a soft team, but when they play physical teams this year, they've succumbed to the pressure. When I look at how they performed against the Tennessee Titans, gave up 146 rushing yards, how they performed against the Indianapolis Colts when they gave up 264. There are two things that define you when it comes to physicality and toughness. Can you stop the run, and can you run it? And when I look at the Buffalo Bills in the biggest games, they haven't been able to do either one. And so at some point, with the bullies, the evil empire coming around, the Patriots, we need to see if they can stand up, or are they going to get punked again because they're soft, and Bill Belichick and MJ10 are going to eat their lunch. I'm going to take their lunch money. I'm worried about that.
McCorkle, I love it. That MJ10 thing is amazing.
Yeah, that ain't going to sound right.
I love it.
That ain't it.
You're not going to you're not going to follow the MJ10 program?
He had a better way to go about that than just MJ10. Come on.
I love it. I love it. If you don't know what we're talking about, Mac Jones allegedly
brand.
just got the MJ10 brand now going. I think it's the Patriots, and it's because of MJ10. It's because of McCorkle. This is not the Tom Brady. That's his name. His mama called him McCorkle. This is not the Tom Brady Patriots. This is not the dynasty. Just because Bill Belichick is there still, this is a new chapter. So I'm all in on the Patriots. I said, I believe the last time I was on with you, Marcellus, if they beat the Titans, I'm done. I submit. I give in. But this is really the matchup. This is the biggest matchup of the weekend, the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots. Now, I think I'm with you. I think both teams do have something to prove. If I got to pick, I got to go with the Patriots. They are the big bad Patriots, right? They own the Buffalo Bills. McCorkle is going to be let me stop. Mac Jones is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. He's done an amazing job in this very difficult system. I think he deserves all the credit for what he's been able to do in New England as a rookie, but he is still a rookie. This is still life after Tom Brady. We all know what happened last year. I'm not holding that COVID year, 8 opt-outs, Cam Newton, you lose the greatest player in the history of the game. Like, I'll give you a year to be down. And not everyone really took advantage of the Patriots being down in that spot. And here they are back again, competitive and really contenders. So I think the Patriots really have to prove in this game. We have a rookie quarterback, but it doesn't matter. He's not scared. Buffalo is a great team. Now, I have some concerns about the Tre'Davious White injury. They are going to have to adjust without him, which is a horrible blow, especially at this point in the season. But I think the Patriots have to prove in this game against the Bills that they are still the top dogs in the AFC East, and they're doing it with a rookie quarterback.
Oh, man, now we're going to have some fun. Because, Joy, you gave me something that I could poke back at in terms of argument. You're saying Tom Brady's not coming through that tunnel. You're right. But the presence, just the imagery, just the thought of those uniforms make you think of Tom Brady and makes you think of greatness. You don't believe me? Let me give it to you like this. In high school, I don't know where you went to high school, but out here in L.A., old school Crenshaw Dorsey, old school Carson Banning. No matter how good the teams were, when they played each other, there was something that just triggered in you like, yo, don't play when you play against them. That's going to be a matchup to deal with. I think the same kind of mind play is the same when you talk about the New England Patriots. No matter how far away we get away from that dynasty, it seems like we get that much closer to it. at least in our own mind, playing tricks on us. So now you bring up, well, you got a rookie quarterback out there. Why should you be scared? Let me give you my rookie conversation I had with the Buffalo Bills. We were playing the Tennessee Titans. Y'all remember Javon Curse? Anybody Javon Curse? Named a freak as a rookie. And they were playing Rick James every time he got a sack as a rookie. This dude was next level. I mean, woo, he was special. So I remember we were playing him in the playoffs. And all year long, he was balling out of control. And then the week leading into the playoff game, I remember talking to our offensive lineman. I was like, yo, so what y'all see on Curse for real? And they was like, dog, he's special. He's special. He nice, but he a rookie. He a rookie. Okay, we go out in that game. You want to know what the rookie did? Not 1 sack, not 2 sacks, but 3 sacks. And went out there and all we heard was Rick James the whole damn game, super freaking. And he was out there balling out of control because most people will go into a situation, and I'm with you, Joey. He's just a rookie. He ain't ready for the bright lights. He ain't ready for this moment. But be careful. There is a warning out there. There are times when those rookies show you, oh, I'm special for a reason, and they hit the ground running.
You know, it's funny because you talk about the rookies and those things, but it's about the nemesis. To be a champion, at some point, you have to dispatch the nemesis. When we go to the basketball, we think about those old Bulls teams having to knock off the Pistons or LeBron's Cavaliers having to knock off the Celtics because it's something about earning the right to be recognized as one of those next teams, the next coming. And so even though the Buffalo Bills went to the AFC Championship game last year, everyone knows that the Patriots were down. So they didn't vanquish them the way they need to vanquish them. So this is an opportunity for the Buffalo Bills to drive a stake through the heart of the Patriots. Because as we're talking about the Patriots right now, we're already beginning to ready our lips to say that the Patriots are Super Bowl contenders. And so the Buffalo Bills, if they knock them off on Monday night, it then makes us pause a little bit. It makes us take the Buffalo Bills serious as a contender again, because we're beginning to like, hey, can they really knock off the bully? The evil empire is back. Can they be the team to knock them off? They've won 6 straight. So it's huge for Buffalo to make a statement to prove to us, no, nothing has changed. The Buffalo Bills are still the Super Bowl contenders that we thought, and they went through the Patriots because they're better than them. We need to see it.
Yeah, they do need to go through them. Because the Patriots were the bullies on the block, for real. We were talking about the bullies yesterday in some of our takes. But it's one thing to be like, yo, I just came to school and I saw the bully and I just walked by. I'm like, what's up? I'm not scared of you anymore. And it's another thing to get dropped off early in the back way and then have to make your way to class. And you're like, yeah, I'm here. And it seemed like the Buffalo Bills just avoided the Patriots because the Patriots obviously didn't make the playoffs. Patriots are going to be sitting there at the front of their school this year. When the Patriots going to be waiting. And not only are they going to be waiting there, but you're just going to have the mindset of it's more than just what you see. It's more than just that greatness on the field this year. It's going to be the Patriots and that dynasty haunting you as well. Before we go, make sure you check out Bucky's latest article on the Patriots' newfound success based on the Bill Belichick blueprint on foxsport.com. There it is. Coming up, Cowboys won last night. That's right. You hear that, Joy? But do they look like Super Bowl contenders? I say, I'm going to answer that next on Speak for Yourself. The Cowboys got back on track with a win over the Saints last night. Dak Prescott threw a touchdown pass, but the game was decided by Dallas's defense. Picked off Taysom Hill 4 times, including a pick 6 in the fourth quarter, and are currently the 4th seed in the NFC. You ain't gonna catch the Taysom. So, Bucky, do the Cowboys look like Super Bowl contenders?
Oh, absolutely. They absolutely look like Super Bowl contenders. I don't even know why we have any doubts about the star in America's team. This is a team that is destined to go to the Super Bowl because, look, in the team building process, it typically takes 8 to 10 blue chip players to field a Super Bowl team. When I look at the Cowboys, I can rattle them off, and I'll rattle them off in no particular order. Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. I got Michael Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, Leighton Vander Esch, and then we can talk about DeMarcus Lawrence. And, oh, by the way, I'm going to throw a bonus one in there for you, Marcellus. I'm going to give you a splitter. How about Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard counting as one?
There it is.
2 for 1. 2 for 1. So there you have it. You got 10. The talent is there. And when they play together and play the right way, I don't know how many teams can beat them. So, yes, this team is absolutely a Super Bowl contender. I don't know why we're getting all upset about the little bumps in the road in the middle of the season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. They'll be there to run through the ticker tape at the end.
Look at Bucky all bought in on the Cowboys. I think they're Super Bowl contenders too, but hot take, I think all of the division leaders are Super Bowl contenders. I think this particular year, we're seeing a bit of a unique year in the NFL where the top of the top isn't that far away from the middle, and the bottom of the bottom isn't that far away from the middle either. It's a lot of parity. Even the Detroit Lions haven't won a game or in every single game this year. So, yes, they're Super Bowl contenders, but that doesn't mean I don't have questions about them. Bucky, you and I called the game last night, so I happen to remember you having a thing or two to say about the run game.
Oh, getting brand new, huh?
Last night, yes.
Oh,
so I'm going to bring some receipts.
Oh.
So Bucky's going to be on my side of the conversation when it comes to the Cowboys run game. Yes, the Cowboys are absolutely contenders. They have all the talent, all the names that you just listed, Bucky. And I have admitted that I bought into the Cowboys this year, so I'm not going to bail on them. But I do have some concerns, some things I'd like to see them fix or adjust over the next month as we head into the postseason. Fix the things that need to be fixed if you're going to go up against a team that's not turned the ball over 4 times with a non-quarterback playing and win in a way where we don't have any questions about one particular area of the ball. They have all the stars. They just need everything to be rolling. They also didn't have Mike McCarthy last night, so I'll give you a pass on that as well. Yes, the Cowboys are contenders. Yes, they have all the talent. Are they going to be able to put it together in the postseason? We will see. But I think this particular year, there's no team that doesn't have questions about them, that doesn't have major injuries, and hasn't had to overcome something at this point in the season. So why shouldn't it be the Cowboys?
There you go, Joy. That sounds a lot better than the beginning of the show. We were pulling teeth in to make you talk good about these Cowboys.
They're not perfect.
Well, no team is. You don't have to be perfect.
I just said that.
All right. So therefore, we should have started there and said no team is perfect, but they're the closest thing to it. Let's give some Cowboy love up here. 1, 2, 3. Cowboys. Because they are Super Bowl contenders. I don't know why people out here set tripping on these Cowboys. I hear statements like what Joy just said. All right, this year I finally bought in. Y'all acting like they didn't force y'all to buy in because y'all just took a look at them and said, good Lord, that's a squad. That is a nice team that they've constructed. I get it, Joy. You got FOMO. You don't want to miss out on this. You know where the Cowboys are going to take this. They're going to take it to the top. And you know why? Because they got the tour guide to take them exactly where they need to be. Mike McCarthy, one of only 8 coaches out there that have won a Super Bowl that's active. Now, why is that important? Because Joy brought up all the division leaders in the NFC. Let's talk about those division leaders. Let's talk about Cliff Kingsbury. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals leading that division. Not the same tour guide. Not even the same team in terms of personnel talent construction. Extremely good team. Extremely talented team, especially when we know Kyler Murray is in the lineup and healthy. But what they going to do when it gets rough and there's no directions on the path and all of a sudden we in the playoffs? How are they going to perform? We don't know just yet. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. We've seen them in the NFC Championship game not once, but consecutive years, right? 1-4 overall for Aaron Rodgers. No matter where he plays, home or away, it just seems like most times he comes up short. And I wonder how that tour guide looks. And Matt LaFleur, never mind. Okay, so now we're down to just the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with their recent success, Super Bowl championship, and these Dallas Cowboys. How you like my Cowboys? The thing I love about the Cowboys is they have what you need to get over the hump. They have the explosive playmakers. Bucky just listed them on both sides of the football. So now you talk about a team that has the proper tour guide, know what's ahead of them, which is, hey, Super Bowl aspirations, has the actual talent makeup to make that come to life. What's there not to like about these Dallas Cowboys? Excuse me, let me call them what they really call Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, look, I'm all with you. I mean, we sat there and laid out all the stars. And we can talk about the defense being championship caliber because, in my estimation, they got 2 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. Everyone talks about Trayvon Diggs, who takes it away like he's prime time. But what about Michael Parsons? Michael Parsons might do something that only Lawrence Taylor has ever done in this league, which is be the Rookie of the Year and the MVP. That's what we're talking about. And so they're special on that side of the ball. And then when I think about offensively, there's still some things they can shore up. They can get the running game right and do all that other stuff, but they can throw it all over the yard. And when we're talking about the other division leaders, talking about the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray has been dealing with injuries. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers dealing with a vaccination card scandal. We don't know what that's going to do in terms of distractions. And then we got Aaron Rodgers still dealing with toe jam. And so when I think about the other teams, the Dallas Cowboys are well positioned to still end up where they need to be at the end of it. Yeah, I'm very confident in the star. I'm all in on the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl.
Listen to Bucky go.
Yes.
I mean, look, I'm confident in the Cowboys, but you're talking about FOMO, Marcellus. I'm also not going to forget, when was the last time the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl?
What'd you say? Huh?
We've seen this movie
What?
before.
My
There's
IFB.
new actors
I
in
lost
this
you.
one. Oh, okay. Everybody's earpiece went
My
out.
IFB came out.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me
My
now?
AirPod went out. I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Power outage. Power outage.
I've seen this movie. It's A Star is Born, right? We got new actors in this one,
Whoa.
right? New actors, Star is Born. Great movie. Loved it. Fabulous performances.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, I like the Cowboys. They absolutely could win the Super Bowl this year. I know I don't sound completely convinced.
You think?
Because I've seen this before. I've
what?
seen this movie before with the Cowboys.
Oh, stop.
I'm in. I'm willing to be wrong about the Cowboys. I think that they are capable of winning a Super Bowl. And the reason that I think they're capable, aside from all the other things that you mentioned, is Dak Prescott. Because Dak Prescott is the leader of this team. He is the soul of this team. And when he is there, when he is healthy, everything goes. He is the guy that I was concerned about them getting locked up. He is there. He's got the contract. He's the face of the organization. He's comfortable. He doesn't have anything to prove. And when everything is going well, that we know what they're capable of and what Dak's capable of. So he's the reason that I'm confident in them. There are some other questions, as every team does have questions about
What's the
them.
biggest question for the Cowboys?
My question is the running game. The running game and the offensive line, which is what I discussed earlier. You are talking about this game last night like it was like some virtuoso performance by the running backs last night because Tony Pollard had one big run. So you want to skew the numbers, talking about 6.1 yards per carry. You do need to take that out because it's the bulk of the game. What was the performance over the bulk of the game?
Bulk of the game. Bulk of the game.
Like,
I just watched the
they ran
Kansas.
all over that Saints defense.
Did y'all see the Kansas City Chiefs win a game against the San Francisco 49ers in a Super Bowl, and it wasn't a bulk of the game? It was not even a fourth quarter. It was a few plays in that fourth quarter changed the
It always
fortune.
comes down to one play.
And it could come down to Tony Pollard going out there.
Maybe it will.
Boosting that
But I think it's fair
yards
to
per
say,
carry.
Bucky,
Yeah.
it's fair to say.
Oh, you now
that
need
the
help?
Yes. I'm soliciting Bucky here. It's fair to say that the Cowboys, if there is an area of the Cowboys that needs to be paid attention to, it's Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, and the offensive line.
I mean, it is fair to say that, George. But
Thank
when
you.
you talk about the body of work, I know this. We can work in the TV business for 25 years. If we win one Emmy, you always got to recognize me as your Emmy Award winner. So for Tony Pollard, when he has that big run, we can't take that off the table.
Can't take that.
It all counts.
Can't
So it's everything. Look, the running game will be fine. Tony Pollard has a little juice. Marcellus has been advocating for him to get more carries. He got some touch because Zeke has a little bulky knee. But look, when they get the two of them together, look, man, dynamite, fireworks. It's all good.
I'm with you, man. Oh, you made me miss my boy Acho. Was talking about the Emmy that he has. I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
2
no, we-
Emmys. That dude out there with it. Boy, every time I talk to Acho, I gotta call him Emmy Acho. Boy, I can't stand y'all.
Two-time
But y'all need to, you know what? I can't stand y'all also for hating on my Cowboys in that rushing attack.
My Cowboys.
Well, I played for them. I didn't play well, but I was there. 146. I need my glasses on. 146 yards rushing. Most since week 5. Get back in camera, Marcellus. You're too cute. All right, 6.1 yards a carry. That's cooking books. They're 7-0 when they rush for over 100 yards. This is an easy fix. Offensive line will get healthy. We'll shuffle it. We'll get it right. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, just switch their roles. Whatever that looks like mentally, whatever that looks like in personnel, whatever that looks like in carries. Easy fix. Case dismissed. Joy got FOMO. Coming up, the class of the 2020 NFL Draft will meet Sunday. We'll tell you if Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert will have a better career. We about to fight.
The Bengals host the Chargers on Sunday, and all eyes will be on their star quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. Both quarterbacks of the class of the 2020 NFL Draft, with Burrow going number 1 overall and Herbert going 6th. Now, each of them has their team in playoff contention. So, Rick, you're the Bengals fan. Who will have a better career, Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert?
It pains me to say this, but if I take off my tiger stripe pajamas, Justin Herbert will have a better career than Joe Burrow.
Yes.
And it is simply a matter of logistics. It is the fact that Justin Herbert at 6'6", 237 pounds. I know that they got Joe Burrow listed as 6'4", 220. Somebody's lying, okay? Because I look at Justin Herbert, and he's built a lot more solid than Joe Burrow is. But Joe Burrow, the slightly more built quarterback, also has already had a major knee injury. And then this is the pain of being a Bengals fan. I know what that franchise does and doesn't do. And with the owner who has the second thinnest wallet of any owner in the NFL in Mike Brown, and this additionally pains me because he's also a fellow Dartmouth grad, I know that they don't spend the money. And so trying to protect Joe Burrow with the condition that he's already dealing with scares me that they're going to be able to put enough around him. Am I happy that Joe Burrow is my quarterback? Absolutely. Do I think from the neck up he is every bit that Justin Herbert is, maybe even better? I will give you that. But when I look at the Brown family and the Bengals in their history of not spending money and not taking care of their players, I mean, take this into consideration. This is a do you know. Did you know that the Bengals are the northernmost NFL team that does not have an indoor practice facility?
Yes.
All right? The Chargers are just moved to LA, and they already have the plans, and I believe are breaking ground on a state-of-the-art practice facility in Southern California. The Bengals have been there forever, and they don't have it. And by the way, if it was just fluffy snow and it was cold, then I'd be down with that. That's not how Cincinnati rolls when it comes to weather. We are experts at freezing rain. Freezing. There's nothing beautiful about the freezing rain. There's nothing fun about freezing rain. Might be the most difficult condition to practice or play in. And that's what the Bengals have. So it's to no fault of Joe Burrow. It's not a referendum in any way about how I feel about him as our quarterback or as the Bengals quarterback. But all that said, when I look at what he has around him and the conditions, the location, I have to say the odds are that Justin Herbert is going to come out of this ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree, Rick, at least for the second part of your argument. I think they're equal as far as talent and potential goes. I loved Joe Burrow coming into the draft. I campaigned for months for the Dolphins to rename Ocean Drive after him and give off the entire farm to get him. So I love Joe Burrow coming into the draft, and he has proved that he is fully capable of carrying a team. Justin Herbert broke every rookie record available and is obviously playing unbelievable and clearly has a lot of potential and talent as well. So you can pick apart their games perhaps, but to me, they're equal talent and potential and leadership and intelligence and all of that when it comes to on the field. So I can't pick one or the other for that reason of who's going to have a better career. It's everything in the second part of what you said, Rick. You got to look at the organizations. Now listen, no offense, Marcellus, but the Chargers have found their ways into some, up and down seasons. I'll be kind. They have managed to lose games they should not have lost, but I do think they're on the right track. And the interesting thing about the Chargers compared to the Bengals and all the things that Rick just mentioned is that they're in LA now. So the heat's turned up a little bit. It's a little more intense over here now. You've got the Rams. USC's on the come up. You've got the Lakers. You've got the Clippers with some stars. The Dodgers are always being competitive. UCLA's got Chip Kelly. I can go on and on and on. There's nothing but stars out here. So the Chargers aren't going to be able to just chill. They're going to have to be an aggressive organization. Yeah. You don't have that in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's going to be Cincinnati, going to be Cincinnati, going to be Cincinnati. They've been the same way for as long as I can remember. As long as I've been walking this earth, they've been the exact same organization. And there's no reason for them to change because why? No diss to Cincinnati, Rick, but you're from, you're a fan. You just said everything I was going to say. So I think they're equal as far as talent goes. You have to look at the organizations, and I just think that Justin Herbert organizationally is in a better situation. I like Zach Taylor. I like what Cincinnati has done, and they're an exciting team this year. But over the span of their careers, if he's going to spend his entire career in Cincinnati or a bulk of it, that's where I got to go. And I love Joe Burrow. I hope he's able to overcome it. I hope Cincinnati, goes and sits down, has a come to Jesus moment and changes their ways. But there's no evidence that they're going to. So I've got to go with Justin Herbert only because of the organizations.
Only because of, or I knew it. I knew it. Boy, I'm maturing, too, because I held my breath for about 4 minutes while y'all try to keep this close. Oh, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Y'all know this thing ain't close. It's Justin Herbert. Let me tell you why. Joy just tried to fool y'all out there. She said, well, I think that they're equal in talent. One, I know that's not true because no two things in this world are the same, including our fingerprints, including our signatures,
You so
including
choosy
talent.
with the literal thing.
Including 6'6", 240 and can run versus, I don't know what you really are, but maybe 6'3", 220 and not really running. Not really running. Already injured. Like, Justin Herbert went in the talent line, was first in line, and looped back around for seconds. And they gave him more. This dude is next level in terms of talent, could throw it from end zone to end zone. I don't even think they're on the same tier in terms of talent. What gets Joe Burrow to tier 1 in talent is his confidence, is his intangibles. That's what gives him the boost. But in terms of just pure talent, not close. And you know what else is not close? Not their numbers. If you look into their numbers, man, Justin Herbert is on a different pace than Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is balling out of control. Now, please don't misconstrue my energy and love for Justin Herbert as hate on Joe Burrow. I just root hella hard for my side. I don't hate Joe Burrow. I think he's amazing. But there are levels to this. You are going against the next level in terms of capabilities at the quarterback position. And the thing that people try to slight Justin Herbert on the most, which is like his lack of moxie or mojo or just his aloofness, is actually something that's going to pay him dividends going forward because he's not going out there totally confident and cocky in the way he plays. You almost got to nudge him into his greatness, which is going to go out slowly but surely, dose by dose, year by year. Justin Herbert already has the most talent at the position. I can see he can run. Him and Josh Allen are next level in terms of the talent. But then you talk about his mentality and his intelligence and the way he plays the game. Not a real close conversation to me, even though Joe Burrow, you hung around in it. Staying with this game, don't miss your chance to win $100,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money playing Fox Bet Super 6. Scan the QR code now and play along with us. Going to help you win Terry's money. Chargers-Bengals is one of the matchups. So, Joy, who wins and by how many points? And don't say it's equal. No, sorry. The same.
Bengals by 3.
What you got, Slick?
Oh, my Tiger Stripe pajamas are back on. Bengals 30, Chargers 21. And you created way too much of a gap, Marcellus. We got to go back to this.
I know. I left y'all. There's so many ribs left on that one. I got the Chargers by 1. Basically, I'm lying for TV. I don't know about that one. Super 6 players have won over $5.5 million in cash prizes, and there are winners every week. Download the app and pick the outcomes of 6 NFL games for your shot to win Terry's money. Don't miss out. It's free to play. Boy, y'all mad at me. Y'all want that conversation again. I can see it. Coming up, the Lakers could have LeBron back tonight. I should have went first. But we'll tell you if he's still good enough to save the purple and gold. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Nice. Oh, that was nice.
LeBron James has cleared health and safety protocols and could return for the Lakers tonight against my Clippers. LeBron was originally supposed to be in a 10-day quarantine, but he returned 8 negative tests. The King is coming back to a Lakers team that is only 12-11 or 6 in the West. So, Slick, is LeBron still good enough to save the Lakers?
No, he is not. Not these Lakers and not this LeBron. And I'm not mad at LeBron about this whatsoever. He's about to turn 37 years old. He's in his 19th season, and his scoring is actually up from the last 2 years, but it's a matter of how he's getting it in function of the first 2 things I mentioned, that it's his 19th season and he's 37 years old. He's shooting more threes than he ever has before in his career. He is shooting the fewest free throw attempts that he's ever had or averaged in his career. And that's because he's operating from a greater distance. His mid-range game is as good as we've ever seen. That shot right there, that is on automatic in a way that we had never before. In transition, he can still beat you. But when it comes to creating for others, the assists are down as well. And this is the thing. We look at line play in football, and it's kind of the secret sauce that makes everyone and everything better. It's not sexy, but it's vital if you're going to be a winning team. Well, rebounding in basketball operates as in the same function. And this is the great difference between the Lakers when they won the championship in the bubble and the Lakers that we are seeing right now. And part of it is because of LeBron is playing farther away from the basket, having fewer rebounds. Their rebounding percentage, both offensively and defensively, is mediocre to bad. And it was completely different when they were in the bubble. Now, they tried to recapture what they had in the bubble by playing big, by putting together a big lineup. And this idea is still they're capable of doing that with Dwight Howard, DeAndre Jordan, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. But the reality is the energy and the effort to win those rebounding battles is not there. And it goes to the same thing with line play in football. That's going to make the difference for your running game, your skill positions to have the opportunity to do what they do. Well, rebounding is the same thing. You get extra chances at the offensive end, it's going to make you look like you're a better scoring team than you are. If you only allow the opposition to have one shot every time they come down the floor, their scoring is going to go down. And that's where the Lakers are failing. And when I look at the composition of their team and where LeBron James is, he's not going to change that equation. And that means that equation is not going to change.
Yeah, I'm still in on LeBron James. I'm still in. I'm not ready to bail yet. I think I'll bail when LeBron tells me that he's not capable. Like when he says it, that's where I am with him. Same with Tom Brady. When they let us know is when I'll be out. I'm not in the habit of doubting LeBron.
Keep your alerts on. Keep your alerts on, Joy. It may be happening.
I haven't heard
Your ringer on.
My question with the Lakers, I expected this to be bumpy. I expected this to be a bit of a process. There's a lot of new parts here. Anytime LeBron assembles a new team with a bunch of moving parts, they struggle in the beginning of the season. LeBron has not been out there for a big part of the season as well, which is why my question with the Lakers isn't LeBron James and what he's capable of, because we know LeBron, when he is healthy, what he's capable of. My question isn't even Russell Westbrook. My question is the number 2 on this team, Anthony Davis. All of this talk automatically fell on Russell Westbrook. He's not the number 2 here. It should be on Anthony Davis, especially if LeBron is not out there. Anthony Davis is shooting 19.6% from the 3.
Damn.
You should never take a 3-point shot. You should not take another 3-point shot.
No shot for you.
No shots. No shots are available for you. And we always put this on Westbrook and go to Westbrook's shooting percentage, and Westbrook's turnover percentage is not on him. It should be on Anthony Davis. He is the number 2 guy on this team. He is the superstar. He's compensated like a superstar. He's treated like a superstar. The only thing that he isn't given as a superstar is the criticism when LeBron is not there for what's going on with the Lakers. Now, I think they can get it together. And when we've seen what LeBron and Anthony Davis can do together when they are both healthy and out there consistently. I am not doubting what either of them are capable of in the long term, because I've seen it before and it's still LeBron James. And I'm just not ready to go to that cliff. I'm not there. I'm too afraid to do it. I'm sorry. Call me a punk, whatever you want. I am not doing that. I am not going to have that take on my record right now. But I do think the responsibility for getting this team back to where it needs to be should fall on Anthony Davis, especially if LeBron is not out there for a large amount of time, which is what we've seen.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joey. I'm at that cliff, and I don't want to jump either. But it's hella windy out here, so it's just blowing me over. Because guess what? LeBron is old, and this team is even older. This is an old-ass team. It's one thing to be the oldest team in the NBA, which they are, but they're 2 years older than the second oldest team. And last time I checked, old people don't get the remote control in the house. You know what they say? Hey, boy, go get that remote control for me. And that's LeBron. He looking at everybody around him, his old-ass teammates, and he like, you go get the remote. And they're like, man, I'm old too. You better go call them little cousins and nephews in here. Here's the thing. Let's be real about it. The team's too old. The pieces don't match. It's bad Tetris. Let's be real about this. And LeBron James is sitting there like, I'm still capable. But I think this is one of those things that is outside your chore zone. Chore zone. You know what the chore zone is? I love to vacuum at home. Okay, all day I'll vacuum. I don't give a damn. Put on some music. I'll vacuum all day. Now, when it comes to washing the dishes, you ain't got my heart into it. I could do it, but my heart's not into it. If you say mop, like go mop something, I ain't doing jack. I ain't got it. That's LeBron James right now. He looking around. He like, what I need to do for this team is outside my chore zone. Ain't no damn way I'm going to help these dudes in all these ways because he's too damn old to do it. So I'm sorry, Joy. I ain't want to jump, but that win got me. Before we go, the Suns and Warriors play tonight. Go to foxsports.com to read Slick's latest article on which team will be primed for the postseason. And it won't be the Lakers. Coming up, the Cowboys won last night, but Zeke did not eat. We'll tell you if the Cowboys should bench him. Ooh, we going there? That's next on Speak for Yourself.
The Cowboys won last night, but their running game had some question marks. Tony Pollard had a 58-yard touchdown run, but the starter, Ezekiel Elliott, has been dealing with a knee injury, and he only rushed for 45 yards on 13 carries. So, Marcellus.
Yes, ma'am.
Should the Cowboys bench Zeke?
Yes, it's time to bench Ezekiel Elliott. 4 straight games under 50 yards. I'm going to say this quick because I've been saying it so long and I've said it so strong, it's just time to move on. 7 straight games under 70. I used to play running back. I know y'all don't see it right now in this nice suit and my chiseled body. I look more like a DN, right? Actually, I started off as a running back. Pretty good running back, too. Hall of Fame for Pop Warner level. Anyway, I used to run a wing T offense. You know what that is? That's 3 running backs on the field at the same time. Why do I bring up the wing T offense? Because all questions were answered on the field. None of us could go back into the meeting room and say, oh, they blocking different for us. Oh, the defense is playing us different. Nah, we all getting carries. We all running the same play. So when we got into the meeting room, everything was answered. That's the issue with the Cowboys right now. They can't answer all the questions because Zeke goes out there and tries to tenderize the defense and goes out there and plays pigpen, which is 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And then Tony Pollard just comes out there and plays flash and just lights them up and goes out there and gets 6 points. And then they sit back and they say, well, we need Zeke to start the game off and set the tone. And then Tony Pollard will cash in the receipts. That's not how you play it. That's how you learn the position. You need to let this flip-flop. You need to let Ezekiel Elliott now learn from how Tony Pollard is exploiting those same defenses he sees. So for me, it's time. For me, it's actually been time. Ezekiel needs to sit.
Well, Big Bro, I do know
for me,
that. Go ahead, Rick.
Okay. No, Joey, go.
I was just going to say I do know that because I read your book, Marcellus. So.
Oh, you remember that? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Go ahead, Rick.
I'll give him my Hall of Fame vote. Damn it.
No, they shouldn't sit Zeke, especially right now if he's dealing with a bulky knee. Because, Marcellus, you know this too. And I imagine you weren't injured in Pop Warner, but you had a couple of injuries later on in your career. It's not a matter of who is starting off better, but if I'm going to warm him up and get him going, I don't want him on the sideline waiting to come into the game. I'm going to get him oiled and ready to go and send him out there and get what I can get. And the difficulty or the danger in flipping roles with him and Pollard is that I may lose what Pollard has been doing as that change of pace coming in afterward. He's never demonstrated that he can be the bell cow. He had 2 starts last year, never had more than a dozen carries. I don't have a problem with shifting the number of carries or touches and making it more even. I'm fine with that. But the idea that we should flip roles with the 2 of them and make this the Tony Pollard show, I just feel there's a great danger in that. And at this point, it's just not necessary. Because while you might get a little bit more out of Tony Pollard, you might get a whole lot less out of Ezekiel Elliott.
Interesting.
I don't think it's a benching situation, but I don't think that it would hurt Ezekiel Elliott to have a day off, have a week off, give him a game off. He's clearly injured. He's been injured since week 4. He had a knee bruise in week 4, soreness in his lower back and his rib cage in week 6. Week 9, he was forced out of the game with a right knee contusion. He's been limited in practice for a while now. And it's more Jerry Jones saying, like, nope, Zeke's going to be fine. Zeke is out there. Zeke's getting a serious load. He's going to be fine. That's not the situation. We can see that Zeke is struggling. The offensive line is struggling a little bit as well. Give him a game off. Let him rest. You want him healthy in the postseason. You want to be able to run the ball in the postseason. I don't think it's a matter of benching or switching roles. To Rick's point, you don't want to completely eliminate Zeke from the game plan, but he could probably benefit from a little bit of rest. He is banged up. It wouldn't hurt him, especially because you have Tony Pollard with this juice to have a game off.